What's going on, everybody? It's Koji here, and I am going to do a review reaction for the IGN review of Armored Core 6. This is a game I'm pretty excited for, and they just came out with a review today. It's coming out Thursday night, I guess. Midnight, Friday, technically. So, I don't know. I've been talking about this game for a little bit. I figured I would just check out the review and sort of watch through it with you guys and give my thoughts on what they had to say. I haven't seen it yet, so here we go.
It's been a hot minute since the last time we were able to pile bunker an enemy mech in the face, but the team at From Software has finally returned to their roots with Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon.
Yeah, it's been a minute. They started with like Demon Souls in, man, what was it, 2008 or something like that. So, and even before that, I'm not sure when the last Armored Core came out. Maybe it was like 2006 or something. It's been quite a while. I've played a lot of From Software since Demon Souls, but I've never played an Armored Core.
It's clear that it's a very different company in 2023 than in 2013, in that Armored Core 6 certainly looks and feels the part of a modern mecha action game, with gorgeous visuals, a rock-solid 60 FPS frame rate that never falters, and an intuitive control scheme that dramatically reduces the learning curve experienced in prior Armored Core games.
Yeah, people are dinging the graphics a little bit. I think the graphics look awesome. I think the mechs look really cool. I think the like effects when you're boosting around in like different directions, when you're firing off different bullets and, you know, these like smoke trails and all this stuff. I think people are like, they're expecting a game that is supposed to just have like beautiful landscapes and scenery and things like that. I don't think that's where they're going with this. I think the goal for this was to be functional and good looking in motion when you're diving around, high octane, the effects, the, like you said, the frame rate is stable. I think that was where they put their importance, and I think that makes sense, to be honest, with a game like this.
At the same time, its story and a few elements of its design feel a bit stuck in their old ways, with bland mission briefings still doing most of the heavy lifting as far as storytelling goes. But Armored Core 6 scores direct hits in the spots it matters most, specifically the highly customizable, intense, and frantic mecha battles.
Nice. I predicted this game was going to be really good, by the way. I'm predicting at least a 9, so we'll see what happens here. That's what I'm going to put myself out there. I'm predicting at least a 9. I haven't seen it yet, but I have predicted this game is going to be good. Thank you, IGN, for letting me speak over your review.
If there's one area where Armored Core 6 could have benefited from more modernization, it's in its storytelling. The 5-chapter campaign plays out almost entirely over radio conversations, PowerPoint presentation-style mission briefings, and combat chatter that is nearly impossible to pay attention to while you're fighting for your life on the mining planet of Rubicon.
I really wasn't expecting a whole lot from the story, to be honest. Even in the Souls games, I think they're getting better, and like Elden Ring had probably a little bit better of a story, but I never know what's going on in these From Software games, and I never really care. I just enjoy how the game feels and plays for the most part. So the fact that it's not some crazy story, I guess it would have been better, but I really wasn't expecting too much. I was just expecting a little bit of a reason to fly around in this mech and have fun.
Either that our character is a blank slate who just does whatever they're told, fighting on behalf of corporations, resistance forces, arms dealers, or the enigmatic Walter and his own personal agenda.
Time to get to work, 621.
As a result,
Handler
despite
Walter.
An interesting setting and premise with plenty of teases of ulterior motives and questionable loyalties, I found it really hard to connect with the story on anything beyond a pure surface level. Which is a shame, because one of the major ideas of Armored Core 6 is a branching storyline that has you making decisions on which faction you want to take on missions for. I just didn't really care one way or the other. However, one of the benefits of this mission structure is that it's able to allow for a wide variety of objectives that each favor a different style of play, which then feeds into the excellent customization elements that make up the heart of Armored Core 6. Before you sortie into a mission, you're able to equip your mech with 4 weapons, one for each arm and one attached to each shoulder, a unique
This stuff
head.
just looks so crazy, and you know, it makes me think that it's just cool to see something like this in a modern game that is like a full price game where you're not like, I feel like, you see a lot of this kind of customization stuff in these games, like whatever Destiny or something like that, where you get all this different stuff, but it's like you get almost like a shell, you get like a skeleton of the options at the beginning of the game, and then the rest is put through whatever it is, microtransactions and downloadable content and all this other stuff. It's interesting to see like a full force game like this come out, and it's going to have all this stuff like built into it. And I just think From Software has such a integrity that they've shown for so long now with a game like Elden Ring, for example, where it's like you buy the game full price, it's $60, whatever this is. Maybe this is $70. I don't know. Games are getting more expensive, and you get a real game, not like a shell of a game, and expected to buy the rest of the stuff later. So I'm excited to see what all this stuff they have to offer is.
Body, arms, legs, generator, booster, and a fire control system. And oh boy, there are a ton of different factors to consider beyond simply what to spend your limited money on. The external parts of your mech all have their own weight, defensive value, AP, and what's known as attitude stability, which affects how quickly you get staggered from consecutive hits. Parts with higher defensive stats naturally weigh a lot more and require sturdier but slower leg parts in order to carry the burden. And weapons that weigh a lot require larger, stronger, and heavier arm parts.
Okay.
But that's not all. Certain weapons also take a ton of energy to wield, and thus require generators that have large energy capacities in order to even equip them. But then you have to balance that with the fact that your energy regeneration could suffer, which means that energy management gets much more difficult once you're actually in
It looks like you're going to have like a garage type of area or something to test out different things in before you actually go into the levels, so that's going to be cool. Customization looks crazy.
If you even start making those decisions, you should consider what range you can expect
got
your
like
mech to be fighting
violet,
at, so
purple
you can optimize your
Gundam
internal
looking
parts
thing.
for that role, and the list just goes on and on. That may sound like a lot, and I'm not gonna lie, it is, but still, I felt like Armored Core 6 did a great job of guiding me with its sorting tools and descriptive text, which made it easy enough for me to discern what parts were good.
I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I do wish, from what I've seen in this game, it was like almost a little bit more of like a Gundam type scenario where you were encountering like other people or something inside their mechs. Maybe it is, I don't know, let me know if I'm wrong about that, but I think that would be like a way they could improve the story if you were going through these levels and you would actually encounter like human people doing stuff that you were like, they had their own goals and things they were trying to do that you were like having to intersect and maybe like kill these people and stuff. I just I think it looks awesome, but I do wonder if it's like you're just blowing stuff up over and over with no real like human emotion attached to it, if that's going to kind of detract a little bit from it. I'm not sure, but that's just a thought I had.
For what? As long as I had the idea in my head of what kind of mech I wanted to make, it was fairly easy to bring that idea to life. Over the course of the campaign, I piloted a lightweight scout with fast boosts that excelled at evasion, a medium-sized destroyer that could wield heavier weaponry without sacrificing too much mobility, and a mobile fortress outfitted with the heaviest and most devastating
His tank
weapons
guys are
money
funny
could buy.
looking to me.
What all of this customization amounts to is making every mission feel like a satisfying combat puzzle. Even though there are certainly loadouts that felt stronger than others, hello dual kinetic shotguns on a medium-sized bipedal mech, there was never a one-size-fits-all solution to every mission, which is a testament to the stellar design and variety of the missions themselves. You'll never do the same thing twice. One mission had me investigating a seemingly abandoned outpost, only to be ambushed by stealth ACs that I needed to scan in order to target. Another had me dropping down into an underground facility, carefully descending from platform to platform so as to avoid getting disintegrated by the laser cannon at the bottom. And another still had me infiltrating a cave to destroy a generator, which I did, and then had to book it out of there to avoid getting caught up in the resulting explosion. It kept the action fresh throughout the entirety of the 15-hour campaign and beyond. Failing
cool.
missions is part of the process, and it's something that will very likely happen to you a lot. But fortunately, the checkpoint system is fairly generous, and you're given...
The people who think Dark Souls is hard, Elden Ring is too hard, I think they're still going to have a little bit of that hurdle to climb in this. But, this is something I was thinking about with this game. Like, if people thought Dark Souls or Elden Ring or Demon Souls or whatever is too hard and they didn't like it for that, I wonder if this game is different enough that they can kind of pick this game up and actually have fun with it, and maybe it's like a little bit more of a shooter, it has a little bit more of a priority on the customization and the shooting, things like that. I wonder if those type of people who didn't get into the other games from Software could maybe use this game as like a starting point. I'm not sure, or if it's just gonna beat their brakes off like those other games did too. We'll see.
Given an opportunity to change the assembly of your mech after every death. This made it so that every failure came with an opportunity to assess what went wrong and think about how I could fix it. Coming back with the right answer, whether that was simply by switching out my weapon or a more drastic revamp involving changing up my AC archetype, was always satisfying. That said, I really wish that you could also access the shop as well when you die. If you don't already have the thing that you need to beat whatever you're stuck on, you have to back out of the mission, buy it, and then restart the mission from the beginning. One of the things that I appreciated right out of the gate in Armored Core 6 is that I was able to pick up the controls extremely quickly. It's all super intuitive. Right and left triggers fire your right arm and left arm weapons, right and left bumpers fire your right and left shoulder weapons, X jumps, square dodges, circle toggles your booster jets, clicking in the left stick makes you go into a sprint like assault burst mode, and clicking in the right stick changes your lock-on mode. I've seen a lot of discussion from longtime Armored Core fans who are not happy about there being a hard lock-on system, with the argument that it lowers the skill ceiling. But I think From Software has found a really delicate balance with it. If you turn on the targeting assist mode, you gain the advantage of keeping the camera fixed on a specific target, but you're less accurate with your shots. As a result, I found myself switching between the two modes frequently, using the targeting assist mode so I wouldn't lose track of a fast-moving boss, and then switching it off and manually keeping it in my sights when I felt like it was time to counterattack.
That's cool. I think a lot of these games that are coming out in the sort of modern era are sort of running into this issue where it's like, how do we become a little more intuitive but also not become like too easy, I guess. And maybe you kind of see this with some of these like Resident Evil remakes or Resident Evil 4 remake or things like that, where you're like, how do we modernize this without becoming too easy? And I do think that to a degree you do want to try to modernize your design, make it more intuitive. I think that's a big plus of like a modern game, is to iterate on the past and make it easier to control, easier to play, but while still keeping that high skill ceiling. It sounds like that's what they did here, so that's good.
Having the hard lock also allows for some really dynamic and intense boss fights that would have been much more frustrating to deal with if I didn't have a way to always keep the boss in my sights.
Right.
More than anything though, combat in Armored Core 6 just feels good.
I think that's the main point, right? I think that seems to be the focus of this game, is just these really dynamic, fast-paced
The wide
combat
assortment of weapons all feel
encounters, just having
satisfying in their
fun
own way,
playing the
whether
actual
that's
game.
using a charge shot from a linear rifle on an unaware enemy to kill them in one shot,
1-5, unaffiliated AC.
nimbly dashing around with dual shotguns and laying waste to a whole military base, or juggling quad rocket launchers between your arms and shoulders. Things can feel downright anime-like at times with how many missiles you're able to fire at once, and how many missiles get fired at you. In addition to the regular missions, there's an arena mode that pits you against steadily increasingly difficult one-on-one fights against named ACs, each with their own unique loadout and assembly. You'll definitely want to go through them too, as completing arena fights rewards you with currency you can use to strengthen your mech and further customize your playstyle.
That's cool.
You can increase your damage with a specific type of weapon, increase your defense,
That sounds fun.
unlock core abilities like a super satisfying kick out of your assault boost, and much more. Better still, you can respec at any point for a fairly modest fee. If you want to test your
I've said this before, but I think this game is going to have so much potential as like good background gameplay for my videos, to be honest, where I'm just going to be talking about like UFC or whatever, just random stuff, but being able to have something really, really cool and dynamic and fast paced on in the background, I think it's going to be a blessing for that too. Thank you, From Software. I don't know, hopefully maybe one day if I get big enough, hopefully they don't write me and be like, you're using our games for a lot of your stuff. What's up with that? I don't know. I don't think they have a problem with that though, right? Because it's more exposure for them. So
arena skills against actual humans, you can do that as well, in both 1-on-1 and 3-on-3 online matches.
That looks like a Gundam.
I didn't get to test out the netcode extensively in my review period, but the few matches that I did play were super smooth and a ton of fun. And of course, if cosmetic customization is your thing, there's a ton of options to paint your mech whatever color combination you desire, place a variety of decals you unlock through arena fights, create your own custom decals,
nice.
then save and share your creation for the rest of the world. Beating Fires of Rubicon's campaign unlocks a New Game Plus mode that allows you to take all of your unlocked parts through the story missions again from the very beginning. There's also a lot of incentive to play through New Game Plus in the form of multiple endings, new story branching points, entirely new and more difficult missions, and even a whole new set of arena matches to fight through.
That's awesome.
Needless to say, you'll definitely want to go through this more than once to get everything that AC6 has to offer.
Yeah, definitely. And I think in a game that focuses this much on combat, you know, with Elden Ring, I could see like going through all that and just being like, I have no desire to play New Game Plus. That was just such a, even though, I mean, that game's combat based too, but I could see the reasoning between not wanting to go through it. It's just so long, and you feel like at the end you're like, oh, I've finally beaten this thing. But I could see with a game like this that's more concise and just really more focused directly on the combat than anything else, I can definitely see how this is probably a game where you'd want to play through it like twice to get the most out of it, which I think is going to be cool. And going into that second playthrough, replaying those missions, having that experience from your first playthrough and the extra gear and all that stuff, I think that might even have the potential to be like the funnest part of the game.
Armored Core 6 doesn't look to reinvent the bipedal legs of the mech action genre, but it does update, refine, and polish them to an aggressive shine. Every sortie is a satisfying combat puzzle to solve thanks to fantastic mission design, intense boss encounters, and extreme...
Which is fine. That's all I need to do, right? Because the series has been dormant for so long, and everybody's gotten into the From Software games since Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and everybody's been introduced to From Software, and they've gained such a huge amount of a following since before these games had even, you know, and nobody's played an Armored Core. I haven't played an Armored Core, and I love From Software. So I think really that's all they needed to do was bring back their older style, bring back this title, give it that fresh coat of paint, give it those intuitive controls, give it that modern sort of feel to it, and that modern polish with you know, they're firing on so many cylinders right now. Just let the current version of From Software make this game. I think that's all they needed to do, and it looks like that's what they did. So let's see.
Extremely wide assortment of
let's see what IGN gave it. They had some criticisms.
Affect how your mech plays, and excellent.
That looks really cool. I like that mech. They had some criticisms. Are they going to give it a 9? Let's see.
Explosive combat.
I still think they're going to give it a 9.
Very complex systems and
they could give it like an 8.5.
And make them easy to understand and execute. Its interesting premise is stifled by bland storytelling told through mission briefings and radio chatter, but this is still, nonetheless, a welcome return of a classic mecha series.
Oh my gosh, an 8. I was wrong.
For more Armored Core 6, make sure to check out the first minutes of the game. And for everything
but I think
else,
I'm gonna like
keep
it a lot.
Here on IGN.
All right. Thank you, IGN. Always good time with their reviews. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. I'm excited for the game. I may stream it on this channel. I think that's going to be fun. I might stream it on my other channel, actually, because that actually has a little bit of a following. Check out Grand, where I talk about like self-improvement videos, things like that. But yeah, I think it's going to be good. So thanks, guys, for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. And I'm going to keep making videos like this. Right now, this is like the game that interests me, but tomorrow it might be something else. It might be something going down in the UFC. It might be some movie or show or music. Who knows, man? This is like my channel to just kind of let it rip a little bit. So thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you later. Adios. Bye-bye.